as soon as I hit record. I had a feeling she would be joining us today. She just went down for her nap and she's already awake. I also have my other baby down here. Can you see her? Her little paw. One of my firstborns. Right here. So today I want to have a discussion on all the things I wish I knew before becoming a parent. Now I know it's so easy to get consumed in the negativity around becoming a parent. I feel like a lot of people, including myself, we just like to complain about being a parent and we don't talk enough about like the joys of it. So not everything in this is extremely negative, but of course a lot of things that I wasn't prepared for were the negative sides of parenthood. So if you're trying to avoid all negativity around becoming a parent and you know you have anxieties about it and you know you just don't want to hear about even more negative things because that is what is online pretty much on TikTok and YouTube. I just see a lot of people talking about the realities and like also things that they wish they knew, then maybe don't watch this video because there are some negative sides to parenthood, motherhood that I'm going to talk about that I wish I knew and could be better prepared for. But that being said, nothing will ever prepare you to become a parent until you are thrust into that role, because it's just wild. It is the most weird, like hard thing I've ever done, the most rewarding, the most emotional thing I've ever done. But hopefully some of these things will help better prepare you if you're pregnant right now or you're expecting or you want to become a parent someday. Hopefully these things will just, you know, give you some more things to think about. Not that you need any more things to think about when you're wanting to be a parent or expecting to be a parent. I think she's just fully awake, so I'm gonna go grab her and she's just gonna be a part of the video now because I just feel bad that she's squirming around in there. She's still not crying. Here she is. Yeah. You wanna watch some Dory? We do a little bit of screen time in this house, what can I say? Okay, starting off, first thing that I wish I knew before becoming a mom is you don't need to buy everything right off the bat. I know that seems obvious, but for some reason, maybe this is just me, but I got so overwhelmed with everything that needed to be bought in order to be prepared. It's like, once you have your baby, you're able to go buy things. And if you don't want to go anywhere, you can easily order them online. So anything that you think you might need, you're not sure of, you can wait until they're here. Like you don't have to buy every single thing and have like the whole nursery prepared before they're born, you know what I mean? Especially for me, we started in a 1-bedroom apartment. We're still in the 1-bedroom, but I have exciting news. We are moving in about 10 days and I want to do like moving content and show you what we're going to be doing with her bedroom because we're moving into a 2-bedroom and I'm very excited. It's going to be half office, half her bedroom because she's still sleeping in our room with us. But I will be doing moving content and more apartment home things. Anyway, you can still get things as you need them. Do not panic while you're pregnant that you need to have every single thing and spend all this money. You don't. You can get them as you need them. If you think of something, you can get it later. It's not the end of the world. You don't have to be like over prepared. The next thing I wish I knew is just how slow recovery was going to be. Like you hear the term 6 weeks. It is not 6 weeks. I was not emotionally, mentally, physically prepared for anything at 6 weeks. Still in survival mode. I feel like the whole the whole 4th trimester needs to be like the survival period and accepted as that, and sometimes even longer than that. So we just got out of the 4th trimester. She is now 13 weeks. She's like 3 months and a week, and I'm just now feeling a little bit confident enough to like bring her out into the world and like do things myself, like physically, like exercising a little bit. But the recovery is so painstakingly slow. I don't know why they say you're ready for anything at 6 weeks. Wasn't ready for anything. I mean, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I have heard that it takes 9 months to grow them and it takes 9 months to heal. So you really need to go easy on yourself when you're healing because your body went through so much change in such a short period of time. Even though it feels like the longest period of time ever, it was a really short period of time. And so you really need to go super slow. Like just how slow you think you need to go slower than that, okay? You just will not be physically ready. Not everyone is anyway. I don't want to say no one is physically ready for anything at 6 weeks, but also mentally, like it takes a long time emotionally, especially if you're breastfeeding. You still have tons of hormones raging all the time. I still get the DMER response about 8 times a day. I can feel a letdown, and that is, I want to say, painful emotionally, like the worst depression and negative emotions I've ever felt in my whole life. And I get that about 8 times a day. They last about 60 seconds. So 8 minutes out of the day, I'm miserable. And then I'll feel the pins and needles tingling, knowing that I'm having a letdown. And just how slow recovery actually is. And to be patient with your body and know that you will start to heal and you will start to feel normal again and feel like a human again. I mean, your body grew a human being. It can do anything. It will recover. I promise you. Just be patient with it and don't freak out at the 6-week mark if you are not ready for anything. The next thing I wish I knew, is kind of relating to the healing process, is about core and pelvic floor. I really think they need to be teaching this more and it to be talked about at least at one appointment with your OB during pregnancy, like how to care for your core and your pelvic floor and how they're connected, and the proper exercises to do to regain core strength after you give birth, because you can't just jump into doing sit-ups. Like, your core is not ready for that, and there's no discussion about that at all. I think seeing a pelvic floor therapist should be a required appointment. They make sure to get you to a lactation consultant because everything after birth is only about baby. No one cares about mom anymore. And so I think going or getting a referral at least to a pelvic floor specialist should be one of those follow-up appointments, just like a lactation consultant. Okay, let me put you on your mat. Anyway, not to get too TMI, even though I really don't care, I'm having some issues with my pelvic floor. Like, I was one of those sorry, you can hear her piano. I was one of those lucky people who had complications after, and I have not yet seen a pelvic floor specialist. It's hard to get a referral, and it's not covered by insurance. Why is this the way it is? Like, why is the system working like this? Because I would love to feel normal again, and I don't know that if my pelvic floor will ever recover from this. And I feel like they really need to teach exercises that you can do while you're pregnant in order to protect your core and pelvic floor during pregnancy to avoid these complications after birth. So maybe look into some exercises that you can do to keep your core strengthened and also work on your pelvic floor while you're pregnant so you don't have all this grief afterwards. The next thing that blew my mind during this whole process is how you will wake up every day with a different baby. It feels like someone just swapped your baby out sometimes, because they will wake up with way more hair. Like, overnight, they will wake up with more hair. Overnight, they'll start to babble. One day, they'll just smile randomly. So you are gonna wake up with a completely different baby day to day, especially when they're going through like major transformations, because they grow so much so quickly. And obviously that's a cliche, like, oh, they grow up so fast. They truly grow up so freaking fast. I did not think the time would go by this quickly at all. And that's another thing I wish I knew, is just how fast. I wish I would have been able to be more present right after postpartum. Like, the newborn phase is no joke, and I don't personally think it's for me. It's a lot. The newborn phase is a lot, especially right after birth. I feel like I was disassociated most of the time, and I was just trying to survive on the sleep deprivation and trying to figure out how to feed my baby, and she's crying a lot. She has gas and reflux, and it's just a lot. It is so stressful that first little bit. I mean, it's stressful all the time, but something about the newborn phase specifically, super stressful, and also fast. I didn't take any like monthly photos or anything for the first 2 months of her life. I just did her 3-month photos finally, because I was in survival mode. I'm like, I'll have time, you know, she's still a newborn. And then one day she wasn't, and it just goes by that quickly. So on that note, every single day is different with a newborn. Every day is going to be something new. You cannot anticipate their sleep schedule, their feeding schedule. They are on no schedule. You are going off of their cues 100%. You can hear her talking in the background. So there is no schedule, so go into your day with zero expectations of what you can expect to do that day. Also, if the only thing you did in a day is care for your baby, then you are doing completely, absolutely enough. But that's still a fact that I'm personally trying to embrace, because there are days I can't even find time to transfer a laundry load. Like, that's how stressful it is. And then other days she sleeps really well and has really good naps, and I can clean the entire house and film videos and work and do my normal day-to-day. So it really just depends on the day. The next thing I wish someone told me, and I think I saw some TikToks about it, but I wish I knew more so, is you will get used to the sleep deprivation. She has still not slept longer than like 3-4 hours at a time. So I have not slept longer than 4 hours maybe, but you do get used to it and your body does adjust to how it sleeps in order to adjust to the sleep deprivation. And you just get used to being tired all the time. I know that sounds negative and like, oh, no one wants to do that, but it's just a fact. You do get used to it. And I wish someone was there to comfort me in those postpartum days right at the beginning. Like, it will be okay. Like, you will sleep for a couple hours one time, you know, one night, it'll just happen, and it'll be fine. You will be okay. You will get through the sleep deprivation. I'm still going through it. People say that newborn sleep is better than pregnancy sleep, and while pregnancy sleep was more uncomfortable, I slept longer. So I kind of prefer that to newborn sleep because you don't sleep when you have a newborn. Yes, you're more comfortable in the bed. Like, you can like lay on your stomach if you want to, but I think I'd prefer the actual like quality length of sleep that pregnancy sleep gave me. Something else I wish I knew, just how stressful it would be to listen to my baby cry. I got such bad anxiety. I still do sometimes when she has her really bad nights or really bad days where she's just crying nonstop. I'm slowly getting used to it and the anxiety is slowly dissipating when I hear her cry. But when you first bring them home and they're just crying nonstop, or, you know, they just cry in a certain way that like, it hurts, like it's hard. My heart would race. I would have such bad anxiety, but you do figure it out. You do figure out their needs and what their cries mean and just like what they need in that moment. And sometimes you have no idea and all you can do is hold them while they're screaming. That's all you can do. And it's really hard, but your anxiety does eventually, you do get used to it. You get used to their crying, as sad as that sounds. And I just think each time you gain more experience and therefore more confidence, and exposure therapy is really the way to go when it comes to getting used to them going out and just being okay with them crying in public. Like, they're babies, they're human beings, and they deserve to be in public just like the rest of us. And babies cry, and you just need to accept this. This is me talking to myself because I am struggling still bringing her out in public because I'm scared she's gonna cry. But it does get easier. You do get used to their cries and figuring out what they need. Another thing I thought about doing before birth was all my appointments. Figure out your appointments before you give birth, like a haircut, the dentist. I actually had a dentist appointment the week she was born, but obviously I had to be induced early and I was not expecting that. So I thought I was able, I thought I would have enough time to get my dentist appointment taken care of. I was like, I'll get a haircut after she's born. It's fine. No, I'm not going to find the time to do that. I'm going to trim my own hair actually, because my hair is ridiculously long and it just gets in the way of everything. I thought I wanted long hair. I understand why now moms chop their hair off after they give birth, because it is just, they grab it, it gets in their face, it gets everywhere. It's like, you know, getting in my bra when I'm trying to breastfeed. It's like in the way, it's on their face. Hair is annoying. Your hair will annoy you so badly. What? Yeah? Also, I understand why moms continuously have their hair up all the time. I wish I could do that, but I have a really sensitive scalp and it hurts really bad when I put my hair up, so I can't. So it's just everywhere. It gets everywhere. I'm starting to get the postpartum hair loss too within like the last week or so. I'm losing a lot more hair in the shower. So that's exciting, and it's getting everywhere. Like, hairs are everywhere, and I have to constantly check her fingers and her toes to make sure there's no like hair tourniquets, because that's a thing. Just cuts off circulation to your baby's fingers and toes because little hairs. Anyway, get a haircut before you give birth, get your nails done if that's something you do, get your eyebrows, whatever. Do all your appointments, your dentist appointments before you give birth if you can. Like, obviously I couldn't anticipate when I was gonna have birth. I thought I'd have her give birth. I thought I'd have enough time, but clearly I didn't. So I have to figure out a time to go to the dentist while I have her, which is fine. She takes a bottle, so Ryan can, you know, take care of her while I leave the house, but I still don't like to. I'd prefer not to, especially to go to the dentist. That's not something I want to do to leave my baby for, you know? One thing that I wish I knew, And again, you do get used to it. And this is one of those negative things that it's not good to hear, but you will always be physically uncomfortable in some way. In some capacity. She's so cute right now. You will be uncomfortable. Right now, I'm really uncomfortable. My back hurts. One of your basic needs always not being met. You're either gonna be hungry, thirsty, tired. Your body's gonna hurt. Your arms are gonna hurt from rocking them, especially because my baby did not like to be held like this. This is how she wants to be held all the time, at least when she was a newborn. Not anymore. This is how, see, she grabs my hair instantly. This is how we used to have to rock her to sleep. So you'd think we'd have guns by now, but my forearms are huge now. They've gotten such a workout, but this is how she'd have to be rocked. She did not like being held like a baby, like this. She's fine now, but when she was a newborn, no. Like, can I put you down? Thank you. Thank you. And then you have to check their hands for hair because she for sure ripped out some hair. Anyway, the amount of pain my body goes through every single day, my back, especially because I have no core. I'm slowly trying to get my core strength back. So my lower back hurts all the time. Breastfeeding is uncomfortable. There's really like no good positions to do that constantly when you're doing it like all day. And then yeah, I'm always thirsty. I'm gonna be nap trapped and then I'm hungry. You have to learn to keep snacks and things around just in case you end up nap trapped there or like breastfeeding there, you're gonna be hungry. But what's awesome is you will do it anyway. You will show up for that baby anyway, even sleep deprived, you're tired, you're hungry, you're thirsty, your body hurts. You do it anyway because you're a superhuman. Once you're a parent, you become superhuman and your needs just get on the back burner. And I am a sensitive person and I hate being uncomfortable. I think everyone does, but like me specifically, I struggle a lot with being hungry. Like if I'm hungry, I am the worst person to be around, and yet I do it anyway. I show up for her still because you have to. She's starting to roll now. Yeah, but I will say I have never felt stronger ever in my life because for one, I went through pregnancy and birth, and that's nuts what the body goes through for that. But also how powerful I feel because I can work through anything. I can be there for her no matter what. Like I'm so tired and I feel like I'm gonna fall asleep on her, yet I end up breastfeeding just fine and I don't fall asleep and it just works out. Like you just feel so powerful working through just being uncomfortable all the time, and we just push through anyway. Like we are superhuman. So although it sounds negative and it sucks to be uncomfortable all the time, you will do it anyway and you're gonna show up for your baby, and that makes you so powerful of a human being. Next thing I wish I knew was how emotional I would find breastfeeding. Like breastfeeding to me, I'm very sensitive to the hormones raging through my body for breastfeeding. Obviously I get the letdown response every day, like 8 times a day, like I said, but also the actual physical act of breastfeeding is super emotional, and I hate pumping. I try to pump a couple times a week, about an hour after a feed, so I can have a little bit of a freezer stash, not to create an oversupply, but just to have milk so Ryan can give her bottles and things like that. Can I put you down? But I absolutely hate pumping so much. I have to stare at her while I'm pumping in order to have a letdown because I just hate the process of pumping. And breastfeeding for me is like a very emotional journey. So I have to have that emotional response by looking at her in order to pump. So the next thing I wish I knew is how opposite my opinions would be from everyone. And that's not to say like, oh, I'm so hipster and, you know, a pick-me because I don't agree with anyone. But for some reason, my opinions are just so opposite from everyone else's. Like, what is that about? The products people say not to buy, and I didn't, are the ones that I used the most. And I will be doing a whole video rating baby products because I seem to have an opposite opinion from everyone on baby products and things. So I'm gonna do a whole video talking about all my favorites and least favorites. Also, what people found to be the hardest and easiest about having a baby, I was opposite on as well. So it's like I couldn't even prepare for anything because I ended up having a very completely different opinion to everyone. So that was kind of frustrating. Like I was dreading this stage because everyone was like, oh, the newborn phase is so easy. Like just wait, right? You hear just wait all the time. And it's like, oh God, it's gonna be so hard then. If the newborn phase is supposed to be, Are you good? The newborn phase is supposed to be easy and I'm struggling so badly. Anyway, just know that your opinions might be different than other people. Oh, good job. That makes it a little bit tough to prepare. Like, your opinions are probably going to be different from mine, but I think it's still good to hear all of the opinions in order to make the best decisions for you. Like, for example, a a wipe warmer. Everyone talked about how they were so unnecessary, yet my baby screamed bloody murder every time we would change her diaper. We got a diaper, why do I keep saying diaper warmer? A wipe warmer, and she was better. I mean, she still didn't like it, but she was at least, I think she didn't like the cold wipes, so we got a wipe warmer, and she loves it. We still use it. So your opinions are going to be different from everyone else's, probably, and because every baby is different, every baby is going to have different needs as well. Something that I wasn't anticipating is just how much I would miss pregnancy during those first few weeks postpartum. I would cry so much because I was not pregnant anymore, and how I was robbed of those last 3 weeks with her, if not longer. I really thought I was gonna make it past my due date. I was just convinced of that, and then that didn't happen, obviously, and I was robbed of those last 3 weeks. And I cried. Oh, are you okay? So I was kind of overwhelmed with this thought that, will I ever be pregnant again? I can't imagine that being the only time I'm pregnant, but obviously having a baby is really hard and not to be taken lightly, and just, you know, obviously I don't have to decide now if I'm gonna have another baby, but I just missed pregnancy so much. Like, I loved being pregnant the whole time, even through the nauseous stages. I mean, obviously the first trimester was really hard, but I just love pregnancy and I missed it a lot. Now, obviously you can't always control the time of year that you have a baby, right? I didn't know I was gonna get pregnant in April and have a baby in December. But having a winter baby is such a love-hate thing, because let me tell you, having a newborn in the middle of winter is so hard because you're already in survival mode. That last, you know, trimester, as I call it, the 4th trimester, is so difficult, and you're trying to learn your baby, and it's, you know, pouring. What is it, honey? So it's pouring rain outside. You can't go anywhere. You can't take your baby on a walk because it's pouring rain and it's the middle of winter. There's no sunlight, and you have to take vitamin D supplements. You have to give your baby vitamin D supplements. It's a lot to deal with in winter. Yet it is also the most magical time of year to have a newborn, I'd say, because when you come out in the spring, it's just going to be like this new, renewed sense of self with your baby, and you're figuring out everything. You have more confidence with your baby. The sun is shining. It's like a whole new life. So you're like in hibernation survival mode in your little cave in your house, and you can't leave, and you're just caring for this new thing, and you don't know what you're doing. And then spring comes, and all of a sudden you're like, I got this. This is great. Life is great. Personally, I've always viewed springtime as more of a New Year's. Like, my birthday is March 19th. The next day is the first day of spring. To me, that's always felt more like New Year's, because my birthday kind of reset the year, and then the next day was the first day of spring. So the last thing I wish I knew before having a baby is that pooping, still traumatic 10 weeks after. There you go. Okay, so this one's getting fussy. I gotta go feed her. Look at her, she's hungry. What's doing? She literally giggled for her first time yesterday. It was the cutest thing ever. I'm so excited. She's starting to laugh. Oh, okay. Now she's getting very demanding. So I'm gonna go. There's everything that I wish I knew. I'm sure there's going to be so much more through every life stage with her. And as I gain more experience, look forward to moving content from me. I hope you enjoyed. And I'll talk to you soon. Fern says goodbye. I'm gonna go feed her.